All right, today we're watching women who fought empires. Hey, women can do anything men can do. No, I'm joking. They can do a lot though. Just like we all have different skills. So, yeah, but I do. Women can do a lot. So can men. And that's just how we do. Let's do this.
From history where women fought back against the greatest empires in the world. Number 1. Boudica. In 43 CE, Roman Emperor Claudius ordered a full-scale invasion of the island of Britain. At the time, Britain was a
Why does this look like this, bro? Does it look weird to anybody else, or am I just tweaking?
fractured land, ruled by 40 or so tribes, each with their own king. While some of these tribes fought back fiercely against the
Am I a tweaker?
invading Romans, others struck deals with them to maintain some control of their lands. The Iceni tribe, who inhabited the area that's now present-day Norfolk, rebelled against the Romans in 47 CE.
No, wait, this one looks familiar.
They ultimately lost the war. They managed to regain some of their independence
Wait, guys,
under the conditions
I'm looking
they were
for
to be
something
ruled by a
because I feel like I'm
Roman-aligned
missing
king.
something.
This king,
I think I
named
already watched
Prasutagus,
this.
pledged his allegiance to the empire under the condition that following his death, his tribal lands would go to both his daughters and the Roman emperor. The Romans agreed to terms, and he was granted the freedom to rule his people as he saw fit. Sucks the Romans are here to stay, but at least his people are free and his children would remain in power. Nice! But in 61 CE, Prasutagus dies, and the Romans decide the deal they had died with him. They immediately seized Iceni lands and confiscated the royal family's wealth and property. Boudica, Prasutagus' widow, goes to protest, but instead of negotiating, the Romans stripped the queen bare and whipped her in front of her people. Her young daughters were then R-worded by Roman soldiers. Boudica and her daughters are left broken, betrayed, and humiliated with no kingdom.
No. First of all, done. We're done. Why is history full of that? It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
But as the Romans head back to their provincial capital, Iceni nobles and soldiers step forward and one by one begin to pledge their loyalty to their queen. Peasants, farmers, even freed slaves take up their tools and rally around Boudica. They cannot stand the injustice any longer.
Right, because that's disgusting,
this is their land, and they're ready to fight to get it back or die trying. Thirsty for vengeance, Boudica looks out at her loyal subjects and vows to free them from the Romans once and for all.
What's it called when you, like, overthrow the government, right? We used to do that back then. We used to all just get together in big crowds. It wouldn't be called protests. It would just be like, we're all going to get together at this time. We're going to run into that building over there, the one that's blah, blah, blah color. We're going to get what we want. Okay? Mainly it's a person. We're going to get them slinched, get them cut up, get them boomed. And that's that. And our problems are solved right there. That's going to bring a message. And then things would change. But now we can't even agree on anything. If a hot dog's a sandwich, if Spider-Man pulls the best girls, we can't. We don't know who has the better girls, Spider-Man or Batman. We can't even agree on anything. Who's the better person, Batman or Spider-Man? Who's the most popular? Spider-Man? Nobody's more popular than Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the most known super... Sorry, guys, we're getting to...
She gathers her Iceni army and travels to the land of the Trinovantes. Once the most powerful tribe in all of Britain, they'd suffered the most humiliation at the hands of the Romans, who, after defeating them, built their capital city, Camulodunum, now modern-day Colchester, on their sacred lands. Upon hearing her mission, they immediately joined Boudica's army, and together they sacked Camulodunum. The Romans are caught completely off guard, and the Britons quickly overwhelm the small number of defenders stationed there. They begin massacring everyone they see. A few Roman soldiers rush townspeople into the temple of Claudius and barricade themselves in. After a few days of trying to get them to come out, Boudica orders her soldiers to set the building on fire and burn everyone inside alive, and Camulodunum is burned to the ground. As word of Boudica's rebellion spreads through Britain, more Celtic tribes rush to join her cause, and her ever-growing army marches to Londinium, now modern-day London. The governor sees Boudica's massive army approaching and freaks out. He takes his best soldiers as bodyguards and runs away. When the Britons reach the city, they march in unopposed and begin to slaughter every Roman they see. No one is spared. Roman women in particular are mutilated as offerings to the Celtic goddess of war
That's-
Andraste. The Britons' destruction of Londinium was so complete that archaeologists today still find a thick layer of burnt debris beneath London's streets. Sensing the opportunity to reclaim their native lands, even
Wait a minute. I've also, all right. I've also wondered, like, how do they know these stories? How do they know? Like, do the books survive, and then, or are the stories just passed down generation to, then just one person all of a sudden knew the story just like that, or you get to make up your history? I mean, I would think because someone ruled this area at some point. There was someone that wrote a book, like a king or queen, but then that'd be so long ago. Would they repeat making the book like scrolls and all that into a book and tell this? I have no idea. I do not know.
more tribes rushed to join Boudicca's army, and they marched to Verulamium, a city filled with wealthy Britons who would eagerly embrace Roman culture. In Boudicca's eyes, these traitors were worse than the Romans themselves. As the tribal army approached the town, many residents began to run into the countryside, but Boudicca issues orders to hunt them all down. For the third
taking off my
time,
clothes.
every citizen in the town is killed, and all buildings are
Putting
burned
on
to
some
the
chains and
ground.
pretending I was
By
a
this
servant
time,
or something
Boudicca's
like that.
fame
I
has
was
grown,
captured.
and so was her army, to over
Holy
200,000 people, and they'd killed an estimated 80,000 Romans and Roman supporters on their march across the island. Against all odds, this ragtag alliance of Celtic tribes finds themselves on the brink of defeating the most
She also
powerful
has more
empire
followers
in the
than me.
world.
2,000 and
Realizing the next
something.
battle may very well be the decisive blow, the Britons bring their families with them in their march. They want everyone to be there in person when they finally regain their freedom from the Romans. But
Why? Just like, babe, get the kids ready. We're gonna go march, and we're gonna go attack Rome. Yeah, I know they're the strongest right now, okay? But we have a bunch of people on our side too. And I mean, we did kind of beat some of them. So like, yeah, I know our son is 9. Yeah. Let's bring him too. Matter of fact, I call you auntie. You know what I'm saying? Call everybody. We're all going to battle. Yeah. Instead of you guys staying in the safety of the house, let's all go to battle together. I want to see you guys. I want you guys to see us beat Rome.
known to Boudicca, her army was about to meet its greatest challenge yet. See, the Roman governor of Britain was this guy named Paulinus. He was a skilled tactician who was infamous for his brutality, making him the
Paulinus
perfect pick to
probably
put
has
down
that long-
rebellions in the newly acquired territory. When Boudicca had
Sorry.
begun her revenge tour, Paulinus was busy fighting the Welsh, who were also resisting Roman rule. But now he's back. He
Roman
has
was
just
resistant.
5,000 men with him and sends out a distress call across Britain for all Roman soldiers, no matter the age, to report to him, and he manages to scrape together an army of 10,000 men. Even with the added men, he was still outnumbered almost 20-1, and in most cases, this should have been a story of the heroic last stand of the Romans on Britain. But Paulinus was about to show the Britons the true might of a professional Roman army. Boudicca and her massive army are marching along a road called Watling Street, and Paulinus positions his men in an area where the path narrows and is surrounded by forests on both sides. This
No.
strategic location prevented the Britons from flanking his men and forced them to engage head-on against the Roman army. The families of the Britons park their wagons behind the army, doing their best to get a good view of the final battle to come.
That's just
Boudicca rides in
bragging,
her
bro.
chariot and
That's
gives a
just
speech to her men. Though they're ill-equipped, they outnumber the Romans and they've beaten them 3 times so far. So now is the time to reclaim their land and their freedom. The Britons erupt into war cries and charge towards the Romans. Paulinus orders his men to hold as the ground shakes beneath them. The Romans silently watch this horde.
Bro, the adrenaline rush must have been so crazy back then. Like, we have adrenaline rushes with, like, scrolling and all that. Sometimes we're just doing whatever dumb things. They are like, I'm gonna die if I don't attack this man. And they just holding the shield up with their sword. Wait, I have a sword. Where's my sword at? Hold on. Ah! My knee. Bro. They're like this, bro. They're like this. Let me show you guys. They're like this. Come on. Come at me. Come at me. Right here. Come at me. I just broke my controller. Hold on. My bad. The adrenaline rush must be devious. That's what I need in life, bro. I'm over here seeking adrenaline rushes, jumping out of a plane, like parachutes and all that. Let's go to war.
Screaming tribesmen get closer and closer as they wait for their commands. After what feels like an eternity, Paulinus finally shouts his orders, "Pila!"
Charge!
And in unison, the Roman soldiers coil themselves and launch into the air thousands of heavy javelins towards the Britons.
Do they use
The
their
Britons
shield?
are wearing barely any armor, and the javelins rip through the men leading the charge. The surviving tribesmen continue their charge, and Paulinus orders another volley of javelins, taking out even more Britons. Paulinus then orders his men to advance. Shields deployed, the Romans march in a tight formation, their short swords designed for this exact scenario. As they close in, the Britons find their longswords are useless in close combat, and they quickly begin to fall to the Roman gladius. Cavalry is called in by both Boudica and Paulinus, and intense fighting rages on for hours. Paulinus expertly rotates his troops, keeping the front lines fresh, while more and more of the best Celtic warriors fall. Boudica's men begin to realize they are no match for this professional army and begin to panic. The panic sweeps through the Briton army, and soon they begin to retreat. As they run from the battlefield, they realize their escape has been completely blocked by their families and their wagons who came to watch the battle. They're all trapped and can do nothing but watch the Romans advance towards them. The Romans return the favor of their fallen cities to the Britons and begin to slaughter not just the soldiers, but also their families who had gathered to watch the final battle. According to Roman historian Tacitus, Boudica refuses to be captured and drinks poison, dying on the battlefield. The Britons are defeated at Watling Street, not knowing just how close they were to regaining their independence. Back in Rome, Emperor Nero had been seriously considering pulling all Romans out of Britain entirely due to Boudica's revolt. Instead, after her defeat, the Romans controlled Britain for another 350 years. Number 2, the Trung sisters. It's the turn of the 1st century, and the Han Chinese have conquered and controlled the area now known as Vietnam for around 100 years. For most of this time, the Han had left the native Lac Viet people alone and let them continue their tribal way of life in exchange for some taxes here and there. But things begin to change when the Han dynasty is temporarily overthrown by a guy named Wang Mang, who sets up the incredibly...
Bro, these names are... These names are crazy, man. Bro. Hey, what? No, my bad.
Short-lived Qin dynasty. The Han eventually got control back, but this brief civil war wrecked the empire's treasury, and to refill it, the new Han emperor began increasing taxes across
They jump in
this
this dude.
land.
Hold on.
This
They
hit the
jump
people
in this
Vietnam
dude.
hard, but even worse, to prevent future rebellions, the Han pushed for sinification throughout its lands, specifically spreading the ideas of Confucianism, which pushed hierarchy and male dominance. Confucianism went completely against the culture of the Lac Viet people, who believed that women were just as, if not more capable than men, and this destruction
just as or even more capable. Wow. Whatever.
Culture, combined with heavy taxes on fishing and salt, made many clan leaders in the area begin to revolt.
We feel it at the grocery store.
When society becomes like that, just either they're just as or more capable than women. Why can't we just be equals? Why can't we? Why can't we be equals? Why do you have to be better than me? You know? Even though I'm more dominant, you can tell I hit the gym, right? But I'm saying stuff like that kind of pisses me off. It ruins a lot of things. Like, you don't hear men saying, like, imagine the roles were reversed and you're hearing, oh, it just sounds so weird. I would never. I'm a strong, independent man. You're a grown-ass man. Good job, bud. So proud of you. You can pay your own money and all that. Or, what's it called?
The Han sent a new governor to Vietnam to stabilize the area named Su Ding, and he was a giant asshole and raised taxes even more on the local people. A local clan ruler named T Soc and his wife Trung Trac began to organize protests and rebellions against the Han Chinese. He was a giant asshole and raised taxes even more on the local people. A local clan ruler named T Soc and his wife Trung Trac began to organize protests and rebellions against the Han Chinese, and this made Su Ding very upset. He decided to make an example of Tisak and has him arrested and executed, and his head was displayed on the city walls. Su Ding's message was clear.
There was no jail time, bro. There was just straight death. Oh, you did something stupid? Death. You don't agree with how I'm ruling? Oh, okay. Death. You're not happy? Well, that's crazy. Death.
If you like living, don't mess with the Han. But rather than make the Lac Viet cower into obedience, this execution had the complete opposite effect. Trung Trak boiled in rage over the killing of her husband, and together with her sister Trung Ni, began to organize the clans together to build a coalition to strike back at the Chinese and drive them out for good.
Hatred can get a lot of people.
Unknown to Su Ding, the Trung sisters
trust.
were actually the daughters of a local lord, and because of their wealth, they were schooled not only in the normal things rich kids at the time learned, but also were taught martial arts, weapons fighting, and military strategy. Their resistance army quickly began to grow, with many of the commanders being women who had also lost their husbands to Su Ding's executions. They trained local peasants in the art of war, and they even got their mom to fight with them, and she commanded her own troop of soldiers. In the spring of 40 CE, the Trung sisters mounted war elephants, and taking their place on the front lines, marched their army against a local Han garrison.
That's actually sounds
Hey,
fantastic.
check this out. Women? Uh-oh! The Trung sisters and their army quickly overwhelm the defenders and slaughter every Chinese soldier they can find. Su Ding caught word that a bunch of women took over a local fort and thinks it's hilarious. But he wasn't laughing for long, as the Trung sisters and their army quickly captured 65 Chinese strongholds in the area, and he was forced to disguise himself and flee back to China. With the Han essentially driven out of their lands, Trung Trak becomes the ruler of her combined people, and her first act was to abolish
Okay, the reason
all
I think those names are funny because even I think my name is funny. My African name is Segawa, and I listen to myself say sometimes and I'm like, yo, Segawa. What does that even mean? Like, even my friend, my best one, he's my cousin, right? But he's removed several times. His name is Baruch. I don't know how you think of that. Or like an old friend of mine, you know what I'm saying? Even right now, a friend of mine, when I think of that, I think of the Meta glasses. Or Meta. And I'm like, I met her. You know, it's like weird noises. But then you think of my name now, my name I'm called here, Peter. You know, I could see that being a name. Segawa. I don't know. How do you come up with names,
and
bro?
cultural reformations.
You just look at something?
She ruled with her sister for 2
look
years,
like
and the Viet Loc people celebrated peace and the return of their
I can
culture
see myself
and way
in
of
it.
life. But the Han Emperor was not ready to give up territory to these rebels so easily. And he selects a legendary general to reclaim his territory. A man so powerful that it's said he's able to calm even the waves of the sea. Preparations are made, and in 42 CE, General Ma Yuan arrives with his troops in Vietnam. The sisters once again assemble their army and mount their war elephants and confront this new Chinese invasion. But unlike the soldiers stationed in the provincial strongholds, these 20,000 men were professional soldiers and commanded by a skilled leader. The armies clash and the fighting is fierce, but the superior tactics of Ma Yuan hand the Trung sisters their first loss, and they're soon forced to retreat. Over the following months, the sisters and their supporters continue to fight back against Ma Yuan, but in every engagement, they lose more fighters and are pushed deeper into the Red River Delta. Some local clans begin to see the tides of war shifting and defect to the Han Chinese army to spare themselves. The Trung sisters realize they must force a final decisive battle, and this comes to a head at Ko Loa, near modern-day Hanoi. The sisters again lead the charge, and their army fights bravely. But by this time, they are outmatched and now horribly outnumbered. The Han soldiers are merciless, and soon the sisters realize all hope is lost. They walk into a...
Never underestimate your enemy. Ever. Alright? If I see a group of women coming up, and they're looking mad and have swords, I don't care if you're women or men. I'm not letting you take my land. That's just how it is. Fight me. I'm gonna fight you just as hard as I fought the men or women. I don't really care. Not taking my land.
A nearby river and are swept away by the rapids. They choose to drown rather than be captured by the Han. Ma Yuan goes on to crush the remaining Lac Viet resistance forces, and slowly over time, the native culture was replaced by Chinese and Confucian ideals. But despite Chinese rule, the story of the Trung sisters lived on and inspired women in future generations to take up arms against the Chinese. Shrines and
they
altars
didn't win,
dedicated to the sisters and their bravery begin to appear throughout the country, and when the Vietnamese finally regained their independence from the Chinese in 938, offerings were made to statues of the Trung sisters across the nation. Even today in modern times, the Trung sisters are celebrated as national heroes who embodied the Vietnamese spirit and identity. Number 3. Cheng Yi Sao. Okay, this last story, unlike the other two, is much more modern, which to me actually makes it even crazier. In 1801, a man named Chung Yi had become one of the most powerful pirates in the South China Seas.
I keep seeing these videos on water.
After a long week of looting merchant ships, he makes a stop at a floating flower ship near Canton, and upon entering sees the most beautiful woman he had ever seen.
Bro, even back then, you can make money off the lust. That might be the method, bro.
At this fine establishment. Being a pirate and all, he kidnaps her and takes her back to his ship. He tells this woman that she'll be marrying him now, and surprisingly, she shows that she isn't just beautiful, she's also smart and has dreams and ambitions of her own. She agrees to marry him under one condition. Cheng Yi will make her co-captain and they'll control this powerful pirate confederacy together. Cheng Yi is like, say less. And so this woman, now known as Cheng Yi Sao, literally Cheng Yi's wife, begins managing the finances for the pirate crew and begins to help Cheng Yi with strategy and decision-making. A true pirate power couple.
Aww, that's cute.
Unsurprisingly, being married to a pirate wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as one day Cheng Yi brings home the 15-year-old son of a fisherman he just robbed. You see, Cheng Yi kind of played for both teams, if you know what I mean.
Oh!
He thought this boy...
Oh! he took that. He took that. That's crazy.
Whose name was Shang Bao was also super hot. So he quote-unquote adopts him, and they begin to have a romantic relationship, and he begins to train him in all of his pirating ways. Things kept going great for Cheng Yi, and after helping the victorious side in a war in Vietnam, he unifies a confederation of pirates in 1805. His fleet is now as powerful as any nation in the area, and he essentially becomes a pirate king, personally commanding the Red Flag Fleet, the strongest fleet in his pirate alliance.
Pirating looks so cool,
But just a few short years later, in 1807, Cheng Yi dies, reportedly falling off of his ship in a storm and drowning, and this leaves a power vacuum amongst the captains in the Pirate Confederation. And in this time of uncertainty, Cheng Yi Sao makes her move. She reveals that she has the support of Cheng Yi's adopted son, Zhang Bao, who has assumed control of the Red Flag Fleet. And guess what? Now she's his lover. Well, I guess you can't argue with that. And with that, Cheng Yi Sao assumes control of the pirate... But these animations
kill me. No.
And in this time of uncertainty, Cheng Yi Sao makes her move. She reveals that she has the support of Cheng Yi's adopted son, Zhang Bao, who has assumed control of the Red Flag Fleet. And guess what? Now she's his lover. Well, I guess you can't argue with that. And with that, Cheng Yi Sao assumes control of the Pirate Confederation. Just a quick note here. At her peak, Cheng Yi Sao commanded around 70,000 pirates. For context, more famous Western pirates like Blackbeard had 400 or so men. The biggest crews like those of Black Bart had maybe 3,000 men under his command. It's safe to say Cheng Yi Sao commanded the largest pirate fleet in the history of the world. Anyways, she quickly institutes strict rules on all pirates under her command. 80% of all loot acquired by any pirate in the Confederation was to be submitted to a treasury. Sexual mistreatment of women prisoners was punished by death. If you married a woman prisoner, you could never be unfaithful or you would be killed. And if you harassed any coastal villager in a town that assisted them, you'd be quickly swimming with the fishes. Through these strict rules, Cheng Yi Sao instilled fear into the pirates under her command, but they stayed because she also made them all very rich. Her pirates looted coastal fishing and trading towns and boarded ships sailing through her waters demanding protection money. Eventually, Cheng Yi Sao realized she could increase profits and cut costs by simply setting up pirate offices in each trading port. Merchants could stop by these pirate offices and buy a pass that allowed them to pass through her waters untouched. Merchants soon realized this was the most...
Yeah, that's like, what's it called? Mob people do it. Mob bosses? Dude, these people were ahead of their time, bro. Imagine they were alive now. What kind of method would they use to get rich quick scheme? That's what this really was. That's what it really was back. It is not, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to see how they would come up with something because they had that money on their mind. They had that. They had the ambitions. So back in the day, I would love to see them right now in the society we have right now. What would they do? Will they sell courses online? Will they be like, this is why you need to be an alpha male or female, whatever, you know what I'm saying? How would they make money, bro? They would have some crazy way. All I know, bro. That's all I know.
Cost-effective
I get curious
way to do
about
business.
stuff like that.
So Cheng Yi-sao's treasury was soon loaded to the gills. But by 1808, the Qing dynasty realized that this pirate confederacy was a huge threat to trade and security, and so they launched a massive campaign to take Cheng Yi-sao out. On their first attempt, the Qing sent 35 warships, which were all quickly destroyed by the Red Flag Fleet. They sent more ships, and those were also destroyed, and in just a few months, Cheng Yi-sao had taken out half of the entire Qing Navy. In retaliation, Cheng Yi-sao ramps up her pillaging along the coast and even begins to challenge Western warships in defiance. At this point, the Qing
that's the
do
downfall
the
right there.
unthinkable. They ask the Europeans for help. And so in November of 1809, Cheng Yi-sao finds herself trapped in Tongchung Bay with a combined coalition of Qing and Portuguese ships blocking her exit. She sends for help, and Shang Bao comes to her aid, but he soon finds himself trapped as well. The two sides attempt to attack each other, but battles end in stalemates. The pirates manage to capture one Chinese ship and slaughter the 74 men aboard. The Chinese commander grows impatient and begins setting some of his smaller ships on fire and sailing them like primitive naval drone strikes at Cheng Yi-sao's fleet, but her men manage to guide the flaming ships to the shore. Suddenly, the winds shift, and two of the fire ships begin floating back towards the blockade, and they end up setting two of the Chinese Navy ships on fire. Cheng Yi-sao and Zhang Bao take this opportunity and sail out of the bay, losing no ships and just a handful of men. At this point, Cheng Yi-sao realized that she may have hit her peak as a pirate. She now faced pressure not only from the Qing, but also from the increasing European presence in the area. Everything she had worked to acquire may soon be taken away, and she and her men may soon find themselves at the bottom of the ocean if things didn't change. So Cheng Yi-sao does something that almost no powerful human ever does. She decides to retire at the top of her game. On April 17, 1810, she personally walks into the Governor General's office in Canton, leading 17 women and children, and demanded negotiations. She'll surrender most of her ships and weapons in exchange for a full pardon for her and her men, and Zhang Bao, now her second husband, would be made an officer in the Qing Navy. Oh, and she has to also be able to keep all the money she made as a pirate. The Qing government...
Bro, she's a good negotiator, bro. Hey, that's just a genius play. Things like that. Yeah.
Government by this time is so desperate to not have to deal with her anymore, they take the deal, and her husband Zhang Bao is made a lieutenant. Cheng Yi-sao goes on to open and run successful gambling houses in Canton and Macau and lives out the rest of her life peacefully until passing away at the age of 69. And you know what? I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that she successfully retired from a career as a pirate and died of old age, or the fact that we'll never know her real name.
Wait, so the whole time that wasn't her name? It don't matter. Alright, guys, hey, remember, leave a like, subscribe, and all that. See ya.